Ever feel like you just don't know what to say? Like to really get your point across?
Or to get people to, actually listen to what you have to say.
Yeah. It's like, there has to be a better way, right?
Yeah.
Like some magic words or something.
Well, maybe there are. We're diving into exactly what to say today.
The magic words for influence and impact?
By Phil M. Jones?
He seems to think that, the words we use make a big difference.
Huge. Especially when it comes to, getting people to do things or agree with you.
And get this. Some big names are backing him up on this.
Oh, yeah, like Jeffrey Hazlitt. I love that guy.
And Bob Berg, co-author of The Go-Giver,
Classic. And didn't Brian Eisenberg say something about this book, too?
Brian Eisenberg, yeah. The New York Times best-selling author.
That's right. They're all raving about this book, saying it's like a practical guide, not just theory.
So we're diving in, figuring out just what these magic words are.
And how they work, right? Like, what's the psychology behind them?
Exactly. Let's unlock the secrets to using the right words at the right time.
The book talks about how certain phrases, they kind of tap into our subconscious.
Okay, so it's like using psychology to your advantage in conversations.
In a way, yeah. But it's not about, manipulating people.
More like understanding why we react the way we do to certain things.
Right. So you can communicate more effectively and get the results you want.
Can you give me an example, like one of these magic phrases?
Okay, how about this? I'm not sure if it's for you, but...
Seriously. That sounds like you're pushing someone away.
I know, right? It seems counterintuitive.
So how does that actually work? What's the magic there?
Well, you know how people hate feeling pressured, like someone's forcing them into something?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants to feel like they're making their own decisions.
This phrase plays on that. By saying, I'm not sure if it's for you, you're actually lowering their guard.
Taking the pressure off.
Yeah. And it makes them more curious about what you have to say.
But then there's that but, like a big B-U-T. Doesn't that just negate everything you just said?
That's exactly the point. But is a powerful word. It erases everything that came before it.
Whoa, it's like a mind trick.
Kinda. Your listener's brain focuses on what comes after the but.
So they're less likely to even remember you saying they might not be interested.
And more likely to think, wait, maybe this is for me?
Can you give us some real-life examples of how this works?
Sure. Imagine you're trying to sell something. Instead of a hard sell, you could say, I'm not sure if it's for you, but would you happen to know anyone interested in mention the benefits your product offers?
Sweaky. You're not pushing them to buy, but you're getting them to think about who might benefit.
And maybe they'll even realize they could benefit too.
I like it. What about a less salesy example?
Okay, let's say you're inviting someone to a party. I'm not sure if it's for you, but we're having a get-together on Saturday. Feel free to join us.
It makes the invitation sound more exclusive, like a privilege to be invited.
And it takes the pressure off. They can say no without feeling bad.
Brilliant. Okay, let's move on to another one. This open-minded thing, how does that work?
Oh, this one's good. Most people, they like to think of themselves as open-minded, right?
Sure, who wants to admit they're closed-minded?
So this phrase plays on that by asking, how open-minded are you about? You're challenging them to live up to that image.
It's like you're saying, if you really are open-minded, you'll listen to this.
And even if they have doubts, they're less likely to shut you down completely.
Because they don't want to look bad, right?
Exactly. Okay, give me a scenario. Where could you use this?
Okay. Let's say I'm trying to get my friend to try a new restaurant.
Perfect. How would you use the open-minded phrase?
I could say something like, how open-minded would you be about checking out this new place? They have amazing sushi.
Bingo. You're not pressuring her, but you're appealing to her sense of adventure.
And her desire to be seen as open to new things.
Exactly. Okay, now let's say you're in a business meeting, and you want to pitch a new idea.
How open-minded are you about exploring new ways to increase productivity?
You got it. It makes them think about the possibilities, and it makes them feel like they're part of the solution.
I'm starting to see how this works. Okay, what's the next magic word? This one I don't get at all. What do you know?
This one's for those tough conversations, where someone's being stubborn or dismissive.
Ooh, interesting. I'd be afraid of making them angry.
It's not about being aggressive, it's about subtly challenging their assumptions.
Okay, so I'm not attacking them, but I am getting them to think critically about their own position.
Exactly. You're saying, okay, you have a strong opinion, but what's it based on?
I can see how that could shift the power dynamic a bit.
It levels the playing field. So instead of them dictating the conversation, you're encouraging a more balanced discussion.
Right. Give me an example. Let's say someone is criticizing our company's new policy.
Perfect. You could say, What do you know about the research that went into developing this policy?
It's like, don't knock it till you've done your homework.
It encourages them to think more deeply about their own perspective.
And maybe even consider that they might not have all the facts.
Right. It's all about opening their minds to other possibilities.
I love it. This is so clever. Okay, let's keep going. What other magic words can we learn?
Now we're going to dive into emotions. Because logic isn't always enough to persuade someone, right?
Oh, absolutely. People make decisions based on how they feel as much as what they think.
Exactly. So the next magic phrase is all about tapping into those emotions.
I'm all ears. What's the phrase?
How would you feel if...
I can see where this is going. It's like you're painting a picture in their mind.
Right. Helping them visualize the potential outcomes and connect with those feelings.
Instead of just telling them the benefits, you're making it personal.
And emotional. Because emotions are powerful drivers of action.
Okay, give me an example.
Imagine you're trying to motivate someone to take on a big project.
That could be tough, especially if they're feeling overwhelmed.
Right. So instead of just listing the tasks, you could say, how would you feel if you successfully completed this project? Imagine that feeling of accomplishment, the recognition you'd receive.
Powerful. You're not just talking about work, you're talking about feelings.
Exactly. Or let's say you're trying to get someone to invest in something.
You could say, how would you feel if you saw your investment double in the next year? Imagine the financial freedom that would bring.
You're painting a picture of a brighter future, tapping into those deep desires for security and success.
This is awesome. We're really getting into the psychology of persuasion now. What else do we have to look forward to?
Well, building on this idea of emotions, the next phrase takes it a step further, into the realm of imagination.
Ooh, even better. What is it?
Just imagine.
Just imagine. Okay, I can't just imagine. I need more.
This phrase really engages the listener's creativity. You get them to visualize a specific scenario.
And we all know how powerful visualization can be.
The book says that humans make decisions based on those mental pictures we create.
So if you can help them paint the right picture in their mind,
you're halfway to influencing their decision.
It's like you're giving them a sneak peek into a future where your idea has already come true.
Exactly. The more vivid the image, the more powerful the impact. Okay, give me a scenario where you could use this.
Let's say I'm trying to convince my partner to go on a vacation.
Perfect. Where would you like to go?
Ooh, Hawaii. So I could say, just imagine, honey. We're on a beautiful beach in Hawaii. The sun is warm. The sand is soft. And we're sipping cocktails.
Oh, stop. I'm already there. You see, it works.
I can practically feel the ocean breeze. This is amazing. Okay, I need more. What other magic words can we learn?
Let's talk about a classic excuse. I don't have time.
Ugh, I hate that one. It's like an automatic response sometimes.
There's a magic phrase for that, too.
Tell me.
When would be a good time?
Wait, what? You're not even acknowledging the no time excuse.
Nope. You're assuming they will make time. Eventually.
It's like you're saying, okay, you're busy, but when can you do this?
Exactly. You shift the focus from whether they have time to when they will.
It's brilliant. They feel less defensive because you're not challenging their excuse.
Instead, you're working with them to find a solution. Let's say you want to schedule a meeting, but they say they're slammed.
When would be a good time to connect for a quick chat?
Exactly. Or, when would be a good time for you to take a look at this proposal?
It makes it sound like the action is inevitable. We're just figuring out the logistics.
It's subtle, but it can be incredibly effective.
I love it. Okay, what about those times when someone hasn't followed through on something they said they'd do? How do you handle that delicately?
For that you can use, I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to.
Okay, that does sound less accusatory.
Right, it gives them a chance to save face while still prompting them to take action.
So instead of saying, hey, you forgot to do this, you're saying,
I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to looking over those documents yet.
Or, I'm guessing you haven't had a chance to finalize that decision yet.
Exactly. It's a gentle nudge, but it gets the point across.
And it keeps the relationship positive.
Because nobody likes to feel like they're being nagged or micromanaged.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm ready for more. What other magic words do we have to explore?
Let's talk about how we ask questions. Sometimes a simple word swap can make a world of difference.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. What kind of word swap?
Instead of saying, do you have any questions? Try this. What questions do you have for me?
I never thought about it that way, but it does sound more inviting.
Right. It assumes they do have questions instead of putting them on the spot.
And it makes them feel more comfortable asking those questions.
It's all about creating a more open and collaborative environment.
I like it. It's a subtle shift, but I can see how it could make a big difference.
Here's another one. Instead of saying, "Can I have your phone number?" Try.
Let me guess. What's the best number to reach you at?
Exactly. It's less about asking permission and more about gathering information.
It's like you're just casually making a request, not demanding anything.
And it makes the other person feel more in control.
These simple swaps are so clever. Okay, what else can we change? Give me more magic words.
Okay, how about when you need to help someone make a decision, but you don't want to pressure them?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I hate feeling pushy.
This phrase is perfect for that. Ready? You have 3 options.
Okay, that sounds promising. What's the strategy here?
It's about providing structure without being controlling. You present 3 options, but here's the key.
Oh, I bet I know. You save your preferred option for last.
You got it. It subtly positions your desired outcome as the most appealing choice.
Can you give us an example?
Okay, let's say someone is considering joining your business opportunity, but they're hesitant.
Ooh, I've been there. It's tough to know how to approach that conversation.
You could say, look, you're in a job you don't love, you're working long hours, and you're not making what you're worth. You like the idea of our business, but you're not sure what to do. You have 3 options. You can keep looking for another job, but it'll probably be more of the same. You can stay where you are and just be unhappy. Or you can give this a try, work it alongside your current job, and see where it goes.
I see what you did there. The first 2 options sound kind of bleak, while the third one is full of possibility.
Exactly. And by framing it as their choice, you're not pressuring them.
They feel empowered to make their own decision, even though you've cleverly steered them in a certain direction.
That's the power of subtle influence. Okay, ready for another magic word?
Absolutely. Hit me with it.
How about 2 types of people?
Oh, I've heard this one before. It's like you're dividing the world into 2 camps.
And we all want to make sure we're on the right side.
Exactly. So how do we use this to our advantage?
You present 2 contrasting types of people, but you make one clearly more desirable. It's all about subtle suggestion.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you're trying to motivate someone to take control of their finances.
A very worthy goal. A lot of people struggle with that.
You could say, there are 2 types of people in this world. Those who let their money control them, and those who control their money. Which one are you?
Ooh, that's powerful. It makes you want to jump to the control your money side immediately.
Exactly. Or let's say you're encouraging someone to embrace a new challenge.
There are 2 types of people. Those who fear failure and those who see failure as a stepping stone to success.
Bingo. It makes them want to identify with a group that's not afraid to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
These phrases really get people thinking and questioning their own beliefs. Okay, what's next?
Let's talk about building rapport, creating a sense of connection.
That's so important in any conversation.
This next phrase does just that. Ready? I bet you're a bit like me.
I like it already. It's like you're saying, hey, we're on the same team.
Exactly. It creates a sense of camaraderie and shared values.
And that makes it harder for them to disagree with you, right?
Because they see you as someone who understands them. Let's say you're trying to convince someone to invest in a long-term project.
Okay, how would you use this phrase?
I bet you're a bit like me. You understand the importance of delayed gratification and are willing to work hard now for a bigger payoff later.
You're subtly aligning yourself with their values.
And making them feel like you're both working toward a common goal.
I see how that could build trust.
Yeah.
And make them more receptive to your idea. This is amazing. Okay, what's next on our list of magic words?
We're going to tap into those childhood memories now. Remember those if-then statements.
Well, I remember those all too well. If you don't clean your room, then you can't go out and play.
Exactly. They created a sense of inevitability, right? Like the outcome was automatic.
So we can use that same structure to influence decisions as adults.
Exactly. Let's say you're trying to encourage someone to give your product a try.
If you decide to give this a try, then I promise you won't be disappointed.
You got it. You're linking their action to a positive outcome.
It makes the decision seem less risky.
And more appealing. Or imagine you're applying for a job and want to leave a lasting impression.
Let me try. If you give me a chance in this role, then I'm confident you'll be thanking me later.
Perfect. You're not just asking for a job, you're planting the seed of their future satisfaction.
It's brilliant. Okay, what other magic words can we learn today?
Sometimes the most powerful words are the simplest, like these two. Don't worry.
It sounds so basic, but I can see how it could be really effective, especially in stressful situations.
Exactly. It instantly creates a sense of calm and reassurance.
Like everything's going to be okay.
Exactly. It conveys confidence and control. The book gives a great example. Let's say someone is feeling overwhelmed by a big decision.
I would say, don't worry, it's normal to feel this way. We'll figure it out together.
Perfect. You're acknowledging their feelings and offering support.
It's like you're taking on some of their burdens, making them feel less alone.
Right. And that makes them more likely to trust you and be open to your guidance.
This is so powerful. Okay, what else do we have?
Let's talk about a phrase that taps into a powerful psychological principle. Social proof.
Ah, yes. The idea that we're more likely to do something if everyone else is doing it.
Exactly. We're social creatures and we like to follow the crowd.
So how do we use this to our advantage?
With this phrase, most people.
It's like you're saying, hey, everyone else is doing this, so you should too.
But in a more subtle way, of course. Let's say you're trying to encourage someone to sign up for a new service.
Most people in your situation find that this service saves them a lot of time and money.
Exactly. You're suggesting that it's the norm, the smart choice.
It takes the pressure off of them to make a unique decision.
Because they're just following the lead of others.
I like it. Okay, what's next on our list of magic words? I'm ready for more.
Let's learn how to turn negativity into positivity.
I love anything that brings more positivity into the world.
This phrase is a real game changer. The good news is,
It already sounds hopeful. How does this work?
it's all about reframing. You take a potentially negative situation and put a positive spin on it.
Look on the bright side.
Exactly. Imagine you have to deliver some news that might be disappointing.
Like maybe a project is delayed, or there's been a budget cut.
Instead of dwelling on the negative, you could say, the good news is that even though the project is delayed, we now have more time to refine our strategy and ensure a successful launch.
I see. You're acknowledging the negative, but then shifting the focus to the positive implications.
It's like you're saying, hey, there's a silver lining here.
It's a great way to keep people motivated and focused on solutions, even when things get tough.
Okay, how about this scenario? You're trying to encourage someone who's feeling discouraged.
Let me think. The good news is that you've already identified what's not working, which means you're one step closer to finding a solution that does work.
You got it. You're turning their perceived failure into a valuable learning experience.
It's amazing how a simple phrase can shift the entire energy of a conversation. Okay, I'm hooked on these magic words. Give me more. What else can we learn?
Here's a fun one. That's great.
That's great. When would you say that?
When someone gives you an excuse.
Seriously, that sounds like the opposite of what you should say.
I know, right? But it's all about disrupting their pattern.
Instead of arguing with them, you're agreeing with their excuse.
But then you turn it around. Let's say someone says, I can't do it because I'm too busy.
Okay, so instead of saying, no, you're not, I would say,
That's great. You've just identified another way that doesn't work.
whoa. It's like you're agreeing with them, but then subtly shifting the conversation.
Exactly. It throws them off guard, and it gives you a chance to steer things in a different direction.
I love it. It's like a verbal judo move.
Ah,
Okay,
yeah.
give me another one of these magic words.
How about this one, especially when you want to move towards a decision? What happens next is...
Okay, that sounds promising. Like you're taking charge and outlining the next steps.
Exactly. It eliminates any ambiguity and prompts action. Imagine you're closing a deal.
Okay. I'd say what happens next is we finalize the paperwork, and then you'll be all set to start enjoying the benefits of our amazing product.
See? Clear, concise, and action-oriented. Or imagine you're just making plans with a friend.
What happens next is we meet at the coffee shop at 10 a.m., and then we head over to the park for a picnic.
Perfect. It makes it sound like the plan is already in motion.
I love it. It's a subtle way to take the reins and guide the conversation towards the outcome you want. What else is there? I'm ready for more.
Okay, let's talk about handling objections. Sometimes people resist our ideas, and that's okay.
The key is to handle those objections gracefully, right?
Exactly. And this question can be a real game changer. What makes you say that?
I see. It's not defensive or confrontational.
It's simply asking for clarification.
So instead of arguing or trying to convince them they're wrong, you're just trying to understand their perspective.
Exactly. Let's say someone says, I don't have time for this.
Instead of getting frustrated, I would say, what makes you say that you don't have time? Is there something specific that's preventing you from making time?
Perfect. You're inviting them to articulate their concerns more fully.
And that can often help you identify a solution that works for both of you.
Right. Or let's say someone says, I need to talk to my partner before making a decision.
What makes you say that you need to talk to your partner? Is there something specific you're unsure about that we could clarify?
You got it. It's all about gently probing for more information.
And sometimes, just by voicing their concerns, people realize that they're not as big of a deal as they thought.
Exactly. It can help them work through their own resistance.
This is brilliant. Okay, I'm ready for the next magic word.
Let's talk about a phrase that can help you turn a no into a maybe.
Ooh, that's a valuable skill. How do we do that?
With these powerful words, before you make up your mind.
It's like you're hitting the pause button on their decision.
Exactly. It buys you time to present more information or reframe the situation.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
Imagine you're pitching a new project, and the other person is hesitant.
I'd say, before you make up your mind, let's make sure we've explored all the potential benefits. I think you'll be surprised by what we can achieve together.
Exactly. You're subtly suggesting that they might be missing something.
And giving yourself a chance to address their concerns more fully.
Let's say you're trying to convince someone to try a new experience, but they're resisting.
Before you make up your mind, wouldn't it make sense to hear from others who have tried it and loved it?
You're shifting their focus from their initial resistance to the positive experiences of others.
Brilliant. Okay, this is amazing. What else do we have?
Let's talk about how to handle those tricky situations where someone presents external conditions that prevent them from agreeing to your proposal.
Oh, I know those. It's like they're putting up roadblocks.
This phrase can help you navigate those roadblocks. If I can, will you?
I can see where you're going with this. You're addressing their concern head on.
Exactly, and you're demonstrating a willingness to find a solution.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you're trying to convince your friend to go out to dinner, but she says, I can't, I have to watch the kids.
I would say, if I can arrange for a babysitter, will you come?
Perfect. You've removed the obstacle and made it easier for her to say yes.
It's like you're saying, okay, I understand your concern. Let's work together to find a way around it.
Exactly. And in a business context, if someone says, I can't afford that, you could say,
if I can offer you a payment plan, would you be willing to move forward?
You got it. You're removing the financial barrier and making it easier for them to say yes.
Okay, this is fantastic. I'm starting to see how these magic words can really transform my communication. What other tools do we have in our persuasion toolkit?
Well, sometimes the simplest words can have the biggest impact. Take the word enough, for example.
Enough. That seems like such a basic word. How could it be used to influence someone?
It's all about how you frame the question. Instead of asking, how many apples would you like, you could try, would 8 apples be enough for you?
It's that you're suggesting 8 is the standard amount.
Right. And if they only wanted a couple, they might feel a little, awkward about saying so.
So they're more likely to just go with the 8. That's pretty sneaky.
It's all about subtle influence. Let's say you're a server and someone orders a bottle of wine.
You could say, would 2 bottles be enough for the table?
Exactly. You're implying that 2 is the norm, even if it's not.
I see. It's like setting a higher benchmark without actually saying it.
And it can work in all sorts of situations. Let's say you're selling a service with different support levels.
Okay, instead of asking, what level of support would you like? I would say,
would our premium support package be enough to meet your needs?
Bingo. You're subtly positioning the premium package as the standard.
And making them consider a higher level of service than they might have originally planned?
Okay, this is awesome. I'm starting to see how these little words can really make a big difference.
They can. It's all about understanding the psychology behind them.
Okay, what's next? Give me another one.
Let's talk about the downsell.
The downsell. What's that?
It's what you do when you haven't quite achieved your main objective.
So like when someone says no to your big request.
Right. Instead of giving up entirely, you aim for a smaller win.
So you're not walking away empty-handed.
Exactly. And the magic phrase for this is just one more thing.
Oh, like Columbo, the detective?
That's right. He always had that one last question.
I love it. Okay, so how would we use this in real life?
Imagine you're trying to sell a big package, but the client isn't biting.
Okay, I see. So as you're wrapping up, you turn back and say, just one more thing.
And then you present a smaller, more manageable option.
Like, would you at least be open to trying a free sample?
Exactly. Or, would you be willing to place a small trial order?
It's a way to keep the conversation going, even if you didn't get the big yes.
And sometimes those small wins can lead to bigger opportunities down the road.
I like it. It's all about persistence and strategic thinking.
Speaking of strategic thinking, let's talk about favors.
Favors. How do those fit into persuasion?
Well, when you ask someone for a favor, it creates a sense of obligation.
Oh, I know what you mean. Like if someone does something nice for me, I feel like I need to do something nice for them in return.
That's the principle of reciprocity. And it can be a powerful tool for getting referrals.
Referrals. Okay, now I'm really interested. Tell me more.
Let's say someone is thanking you for doing a great job on a project.
They're feeling happy and appreciative.
That's the perfect time to strike. You say, "You couldn't do me a small favor, could you?"
They're pretty much guaranteed to say yes at that point.
Exactly. And then you say, "You wouldn't happen to know just one person, someone who, just like you, would benefit from your product or service."
You're making it easy for them to think of someone.
And to reduce pressure, you add, "Don't worry, I'm not looking for their details right now. Just, who are you thinking of?"
It's so casual. You're not putting them on the spot.
Right. Then you ask when they might see this person again, and you say, "You couldn't do me a further favor, could you? Next time you see them, could you just mention how much you enjoyed working with me and see if they'd be open to a call?"
So simple. It's just a quick mention.
And to ensure follow-up, you say, "Would it be okay if I gave you a call next week to see how that conversation went?"
It keeps you top of mind, and it gives you a legitimate reason to follow up.
And when you do follow up, guess what you can say?
Let me guess. I'm guessing you didn't get around to speaking to referral's name yet.
Exactly. It's a gentle nudge without being pushy.
This whole favor technique is brilliant.
It is, right.
Okay, what about when someone hits you with the dreaded, "I need time to think about it"? What do you do then?
This one can be frustrating, I know. But try this, just out of curiosity.
Just out of curiosity.
Well,
Okay, what comes next?
you ask a clarifying question, like, just out of curiosity, what is it specifically you need time to think about?
Or, just out of curiosity, what's stopping you from moving forward right now?
You're gently probing for more information without being confrontational.
And giving them a chance to really think about their own resistance.
It's amazing how often this simple phrase can uncover hidden objections that you can then address.
I love it. Okay, we've talked about so many magic words today, but I have to admit, part of me is still a little skeptical. Like, are these really foolproof formulas that guarantee success in every conversation?
Of course not. There's no magic bullet for persuasion. It's not about manipulating people.
It's about understanding the psychology behind these phrases and using them ethically to enhance your communication.
Exactly. These phrases are tools, and like any tool, they can be used for good or for bad.
It's up to us to use them responsibly and with integrity. What I really appreciate about this book is that it's not just about getting people to say yes. It's about improving communication overall.
Building rapport, creating connections, and having more positive interactions.
And it's about understanding human behavior.
Because the more we understand why people do the things they do, the better we can communicate with them.
So it's not about becoming some kind of manipulative master.
No, it's about becoming a better communicator, someone who can influence outcomes in a way that benefits everyone involved.
So as we start experimenting with these magic words, it's important to remember that context is key.
What works in one situation might not work in another.
And it's important to adapt these phrases to fit your own personality and communication style.
They should feel natural, not forced or scripted.
It's about integrating these principles into your own unique way of communicating, not trying to become someone you're not.
Exactly. The goal is to enhance your natural abilities, not to replace them with some artificial script.
And we always want to be mindful of the other person's perspective. We have to respect their boundaries.
These phrases should be used to create genuine connection and understanding, never to manipulate or coerce.
It's about using your influence for good.
Well said. Okay, we've covered so much ground today. I'm curious, what was your biggest takeaway from the book? What really resonated with you? You know, there was this anecdote about a sales expert named Roger. He worked in telecommunications, and when customers asked him how the new digital technology worked, he used to try to explain it all in detail.
I can imagine that got pretty complicated.
It did, and it often just led to confusion and overwhelm. He realized that people didn't need a technical explanation, they just needed reassurance.
So what did you do?
He started answering those complex questions with a simple, "It works great."
Seriously, that's all he said?
Yep. And 9 times out of 10, that's all they needed to hear.
It's amazing how often less is more. A simple, confident answer can be way more persuasive than a complicated explanation.
It's about conveying confidence and focusing on the positive outcome, not getting bogged down in technical details.
It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to connect with people is on an emotional level.
Giving them the reassurance they need to feel comfortable making a decision.
Okay, this has been an incredible deep dive into the magic words of persuasion. As we wrap up, what's one concrete action our listeners can take today to start putting these principles into practice? I think just pick one or two of these magic words.
Yeah, don't try to use them all at once.
That would be overwhelming.
Right, just pick a couple that resonate with you.
And then really try to use them, like consciously.
Make it a little experiment.
Yeah, exactly. See what happens.
Notice how people respond.
Like, do they seem more engaged when you use those phrases?
Do they open up more? Are they more receptive to your ideas?
It's fascinating.
It really is.
And remember, adapt those phrases.
Make them your own.
Yeah, don't sound like a robot.
Right. It should feel natural.
Like authentic to you.
Exactly. Find your own voice.
You know, I have to admit, when I first heard about these magic words, I was like, come on, really?
Yeah, I get it.
I was skeptical.
It does sound a little, gimmicky.
It does. Like, are these just magic formulas that will make everyone agree with me all the time?
Right, like some sort of Jedi mind trick.
But as we've been talking, I'm realizing it's not about that at all.
It's really not.
It's about understanding why these phrases work.
Your psychology behind them.
And using them ethically
You improve communication.
to create win-win situations.
Exactly.
And what's really convinced me is, well, I've tried some of these phrases myself.
How did it go?
It's amazing. I've seen a real difference in how people respond.
I'm telling you, it works.
It does. And I've heard from so many people who've had similar experiences.
People are blown away by the results.
So our challenge to you, dear listeners, is to try it out for yourselves
Now pick a magic word.
and use it. See what happens.
You might be surprised.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into exactly what to say, I want to leave you with this.
I love a good takeaway.
Words are powerful.
You really are.
We've seen that today.
More powerful than we often realize.
They can inspire, persuade, motivate.
They can build relationships.
They can even transform lives.
It's incredible, right?
It is. So let's choose our words carefully.
And use them wisely.
Let's become word magicians.
I love it.
Use your newfound knowledge, go out there and make those conversations count.
And don't forget to share your successes with the world.
Use the hashtag magic words.
We want to hear your stories.
Until next time, happy influencing.